Hey, what's up, guys? This is Sales Samurai, and we're going to be doing our episode here on how the job interviewing process applies to sales. So basically, those two are very, very parallel. I don't know if a lot of people realize it, but if you're a sales professional, you should approach getting a job with a sales methodology. So, we're going to be showing some things that are some common techniques in sales that help to make you successful and finding that job that you want. So basically these episodes are catered to, potentially, sales professionals, anyone who appreciates the art of selling, and there's an actual methodology to selling. So you don't have to be in sales. You could just be in this particular episode looking to get a job and finding out how different sales techniques work for you. But ideally, this is really looking at the art of selling, and you could even be a sales professional and basically looking to get a better position in sales. You maybe want to move up a level. You maybe want to go to another company. So, utilizing some of the tools of the trade here. So we'll draw the parallels between sales and interviewing. So the first part is getting the interview. So you need to know, find your leads. You need to find your potential prospects. So thankfully for most people, they don't have to do cold calling for finding a sales, finding a position, which if you are in sales, usually cold calling is a pretty big part of your business and being able to scout out potential opportunities. Having said that, it still can be, useful to be able to cold call and call a company that you admire and would like to work for. You might not get something right away, but they might get a call back 2 months later, and they might like the fact that you approach them. So there is still merit in cold calling and finding out the potential opportunities. But most people tend to go on job boards. So you usually go on something like LinkedIn, Monster.com, or Workopolis. LinkedIn tends to be sort of the popular one these days. It's got a job board. It's just like any other job board if you go to Monster. And employers will post up respective positions, and you apply to them. And they can also, in addition, see your LinkedIn profile and all the people that you're connected with, and people who post testimonials. So it's a pretty good avenue, but it's also a very popular place that people post ads up. So and then also the other method is also networking. And that's probably one of the best methods, because a lot of times, who counts for a lot in sales and in also a job, and basically before something is posted, if someone knows somebody, that really helps. So you can also utilize networking for both sales and finding a job. So those are different topics in itself. We're mainly going to focus on the interview process. So assuming you found a given position, applied to it, and basically got a call for an interview, how would you conduct yourself to be able to position yourself as best as possible? So you get that call, you have that booked appointment for an interview. The first and foremost thing is to do as much research as possible. Just like if you were a salesperson and you were really excited about a given opportunity, you got called in for an RFP, or they said, we're in a buying cycle right now, choosing between different vendors, and we're looking to make a decision next week. So they're hot on the tracks of making a decision. That salesperson or yourself included should really research as much as possible. So that means going to their website, reading everything you possibly can on their website, the most recent news, going to Google News, finding out, what's new with them. If they're a publicly traded company, looking at their financials, Googling them, reviews or customer comments, customer complaints, getting a full idea. This also helps you to also understand, is this a company you really want to work for? Is this a culture you will fit in, right? It also tells you, if you're a salesperson, what type of deal these people might expect. Are they cheap? Are they doing well? Do they look like that they'll be very price sensitive, or would they appreciate higher value? All this tells you as much as possible going in. So Seems like a basic thing, but I think a lot of people actually skip that step, particularly with sales. When you're going from one meeting to next, sometimes you forget that step because you're just too busy with other prospects. But if it's one that you really want to win, or they're in a hot buying cycle, or you need to make that impression, you really need to do that. And I've been actually, I've been guilty of not doing that at times myself. Going to a good prospect just because I was busy with other stuff and making things happen. So. But if it's something that you really want, you really maximize your potential of winning the given deal to do so. The second step is that you want to, in your preparation process, you also want to write down as many questions as possible that you want to ask them. So, read through the job description, read through all the literature on the website, and stuff that's not obvious. I mean, if you ask stuff that you could easily have gone to the website, which you have gone to the website, then it does look kind of stupid if you ask a stupid question there. That's a basic fact. But things that are not apparent, because then you'll come out asking more intelligent questions and showing that you've done your homework and not missing some of the basic facts of things. So you want to, as you're researching, you want to be able to write down the questions that are relevant to you, and some of those questions might be answered as you research more, right? And then what you also want to do is you also want to write down what would be the toughest questions that you would get. So, applying to the given position, or if you were, in a sales process, applying to be a vendor or to sell a product and then looking at other vendors, preparing for what differentiates you from your competitors. What, you guys had weak sales last year and we think you're on the decline. How are you preparing for that? So, play your own devil's advocate. What would be the worst things that they could ask you, and sort of just draft out your answers. You can just put in point form what would be your potential answer if they ask that. And this exercise just prepares you for the potential worst, and their questions might be nothing like that, but it just puts your head in that place where you're going through that exercise and going through that emotion. If you were asked something that was very difficult, how would you deal with that? And that really helps with that process and just mentally getting your head around things. Next step would be visualization. Visualization is huge. So, it's not just visualizing things just going perfect. You want to actually visualize, being asked tough questions, you being calm about it, and you just basically, answering it correctly. And again, and then also just, winning the sale, so that means, closing the sale, getting that signed piece of paper, getting that commission check, and in your case, if you're looking for a job, getting the job offer, working there. So that process, it really sets the wheels in motion, making your mind feel like you've already done this and makes you like you're just going on autopilot when you're going through that. So, we'll go into some other episodes about visualization because that's a technique on its own. How to relax yourself appropriately, use the right hypnosis techniques. But, it's for the most part a no-brainer. There's things that you can do to enhance that. But, for the most part, it's just closing your eyes before you go to bed and spending 10 to 15 minutes of just visualizing the outcome that you want, all right? And then also, it's good to do all the stuff the night before, all your research and all your questions the night before. It's the day before, because when you sleep, you digest questions, and if you do it on the day of, you don't have that sort of digestion period that you have during sleep. So, and potentially, if you can do this a couple of days before, it's even better because you have more time when you go to sleep. You digest all these questions and mentally get your head around what needs to be done. So, going on to interview day or meeting day, formats change. A lot of times people will start off with questions for you. Sometimes, you'll be even tested and say, do you have any questions for us? And launch into your questions. Usually if they say, do you have any questions for us? It can be, a really good thing because one, they might be testing you to see if you've done your homework right off the bat. And secondly, it allows you to, to control the frame of the interview, right? Typically when you go to an interview, and this is part of your preparation, and sorry, I forgot to mention this, you need to be able to say in a very sort of quick statement what makes you different, right? What makes you different It's almost like your elevator pitch. Be able to sort of always have that prepared. If you start going into question mode, and who are you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And so I actually skipped this process. So even in preparation, even the night before, if it helps your visualization process, even just exercise, doing your elevator pitch and who you are and talking through your resume, all that stuff makes it easier when it comes to game day, right? But when you ask questions, listen to the questions well. Try to sit still, cover your mouth. Just shut up and listen. Listening is a skill that we can all very much improve upon, and often we make it harder for ourselves. We're always caught in our own thoughts, but trying to listen with an empty mind, with what the information that's being presented to you, right? And all the preparation that you've done, the questions, the night before or a couple of nights before, they may not be there, but your head has sort of gone around that mental exercise, and you're much more prepared for all the legwork that you did a few nights before. And usually they will then come to the portion where you ask if you have any questions itself. So you want to own this process. You want to, again, have a loaded list of questions, because almost seem like you're interviewing them, because they'll make that sort of appreciation of that fact that you're not just trying to find a job, you're trying to find a right fit, somewhere you can invest your career and your passion into. Particularly if it's a sales meeting, again, that also puts you on equal footing. That you realize that, hey, not every customer is right for us. It has to be a good partnership, because ultimately that's what it is. Business is a partnership, and we need to make sure this is a good partnership that works together. So, having a load of questions that are not obvious really speaks volumes in terms of your mutual interests together. In terms of when they do ask questions, this is something that would help, is that when they ask questions to you, try not to get defensive about things. If they ask you, like, what was your achievement on so-and-so year, why was that a little bit low? We think that you might be weaker in this area. One of the techniques in sales that helps in terms of deflecting areas of potential disagreement is the felt found method. So that basically means you acknowledge how someone feels. If they say, what, we think your product is weaker in the marketplace, and acknowledge that. I could see why people say that, Mr. Customer or Mr. Interviewer, and it's true. There was a certain point where our product back in 2-3 years ago was falling behind. But what we have found from those lessons is that we've actually created a stronger offering, whatnot. So the point is, with that method, is to always acknowledge what the person is saying and their concerns, but they might not have the full picture. They might not, you want to reframe that point of view where you're still acknowledging, but you're either looking at it from a different point of view. So that's always key. It always helps to build that rapport, is that you're not disagreeing or shooting down what a person is thinking or saying, and you're just basically deflecting it into a different way of looking at it. So using the felt found method, that really helps, along with questions, and just that in itself ultimately happens into just building great rapport with each other, and eventually a really good interview is one where it goes away from that question format and asking to just a dialogue, and then you just are interested in each other, and that is very similar to a discovery meeting in a sales process. That because ultimately people do business with people, and you're breaking down those layers. That someone on paper can have all the given qualifications, but if there's not that connection there as a person, then there's if you have competitors, that can be a potential failing point. Same with selling a product or service. Especially in very competitive fields where the product or service is very, very close fit. The person who's a little bit more comfortable with that other person, that's where it takes you, in huge volumes in terms of making that difference. So ultimately, you want to break these layers by asking the questions, by acknowledging their concerns and reframing that, and that really helps just to build relationship, and then it doesn't feel so much like an interview, or back and forth. It then flows into a dialogue. So now it's also good to close, an interview. One of the best questions, I think, is, it's a bit of a pre-close, is, saying that, having met me now and gone through my qualifications, do you see anything that would not be a fit for this position? And that is also a great rapport builder, because it allows the person to be able to voice their opinions in front of you and feel that they can trust you in saying that, and you can do that without being argumentative about that. But it also gives you the point to be able to hear that, for it to not happen behind closed doors. Again, this relates to selling as well, that a lot of decisions that are made to go with a product or service tends to happen with behind closed doors, and you want to reduce the probability which that occurs. You want to maximize as much of the conversation happening in front of you as possible, and that will still always happen to a certain degree, but you want to take away the closed door decision making. So it allows you to open up that door. Where's the possible thinking and alignment, and you want to hear it then and now, and it's also a bit of a pre-close. It basically comes down to, the person says no, then you almost assume that you are in the top running for this job, and then potentially that you could follow up with them and see if we can move forward with the job, or move forward with the deal. Right? I mean, that's typically how you close. That you say, Mr. Customer, do you see anything that would not fit for you, for your product needs and services? And if the answer is no, then perfect. I will follow up with you either tomorrow, and we can fill out the paperwork, or perfect. We can fill out the paperwork now and begin the process. You pre-close that way, and that's But pre-closing is not about like just closing. It's all about building that relationship and finding out what the person's thinking and making them feel comfortable for them to be open about that, right? And that's ultimately what selling is. It's all about relationship and dialogue, and being able to build that relationship that you're being able to communicate with each other and be receptive, right? So the last part of the interview process is that you want to send a thank you letter, and the purpose of the thank you letter is not only just to say thank you, but you also want to, for one, express your interest, but potentially answer any other additional concerns that they might have. So in that pre-close question, they might think, well, you know what, I think you're great, you got good energy, but I don't know if you have enough experience there. You want to be able to develop that a little bit more, and that's really the purpose, is to be able to take those that a little bit of that segment that the interview is thinking about, and now it's thinking behind closed doors, and be able to answer that as best as possible. So it helps shows interest. It helps show you apart, and also also be able is allowed to show you that that you can answer some of the concerns. Another additional good touch to this is that if you even send a thank you card, right? A lot of people don't send out cards. You want to send out your letter because that's quick, send it out via email. But if you send a thank you card, there's a website called sendoutcards.com, and if you send out a card through that, you actually go to my website, and basically the Sales Samurai website, and basically sales.webs.link, and I'll show you the send out cards there. And of course, that would be an affiliate link for recommending it, but something that I've actually used. And that send out cards, it sends a physical card to somebody. You choose your given card, you type what you want to put, you can put images in there, and it really sets you apart, because everyone sends emails, and you do still want to do that based on the quickness of this, but particularly with sales and you want to build that relationship. Often when I do that, I'd see people keep their card on and card out on their desk for some time. And it just really shows your attention to detail and the care that you put in to things, and sending that thank you letter. And not a lot of people do that. Maybe all of a sudden people will start doing that now that now that I've said that. But in general, I mean, I don't think so. It's just the fact that you take that extra effort to be able to acknowledge that person. So all that helps you. So, hopefully with that, if the person, says for you to follow up with them at a given day, be persistent, and then we're going into the closing phases. But like things in sales, like closing really happens on its own when opening is done right. Like all these like 101,000 closes that you have to do, and reading a book on that might be salvaging when an open is not done right. And if you've done your job well in terms of presenting yourself well, most things close itself because you've opened up so strongly that it just makes sense to go forward, right? So, not to say some of those hard closes don't work when you're, in a bit of a bind. So, in some competitive businesses and also some competitive jobs that can make a difference. But, really you want to focus on a great opening, and that will usually help to close itself. And then you get into things like, salary negotiation and things like that. And that all depends on, doing the right research as to what your respective level and position is. So anyways, that's basically it. Just going through the interview process. I know interviewing can be a bit of a daunting process for a lot of people, and I want to, do this episode basically on using a sales methodology for interviewing. And basically the more time I spent in sales, the better I actually got at interviewing, because of using a better methodology and tightening that up. So I hope that helps you. If you're looking for a job or looking for a better position, and if you're in sales or not in sales, hopefully that provides some useful insight. So anyways, the Sales Samurai signing out. Have fun and have a great day.